And welcome here to our Gym Challenge 20 for Cycle Tour Plays and our affiliates here for our Premier Challenge. My name is Cornell. Alongside me, Coco Clushy here. Our round 1 of 4 scheduled rounds is a Swiss is going to be starting between Brenden Moses and Lucy Parker. Both of them pretty formidable players in their own right, and we hope they both have excellent runs. The teams as follows from Brenden's perspective. Oh my gosh, sorry. From Brenden's perspective, we have Tinkaton, Chenpao, Ogrepon Wellspring, Suian Arcanine, Thundermane, and Raging Bolt. And for Lucy, she is going to pilot the Raging Bolt, Regigigas, Ogrepon Wellspring, Incineroar, Weezing, and the Fluttermane. And pretty easy to see their non-meta threats here from both these sides, from Brenden and for Lucy. Brenden with his signature Tinkaton, with the Mold Breaker ability to bypass abilities such as that Armor Tilt has been playing around for regress for so much time, and allows for it to fake out that Trick Room Setter and to make sure it brings a lot of disruption wherever it can. For Lucy, she's going to be playing that Weezing with the Regigigas combination with that neutralizing gas to negate the effects of all abilities in play, including Regigigas' slow start, meaning it will gain a big advantage as soon as Weezing takes play. But Weezing can just be proven disruptive to a lot of things. It can disrupt things like Sword of Ruin, Water Absorb, even Intimidate. And just recently, Photosynthesis and Quark Drive. And it's going to be interesting to see how both these teams play out, because they both accomplish the same thing, which is like damage output, which from Brenden, he has Chenpao for a lot of it. But for Lucy, she's going to have Weezing Regigigas for that main engine. And it's time to see who is going to be going into this tournament with a good 1-0 start. The stage is set, the Pokemon are ready. We do not check nicknames apparently. We have Weezing and Incineroar for Lucy, and we have Hisuian Arcanine and Tinkaton for Brenden. So neutralizing gas gonna come into play, meaning no Intimidate, no Mold Breaker, no abilities for the entire battle as long as Weezing stays in play. And thanks to that ability shield, unfortunately, thanks to that Incineroar holding an item, Intimidate is going to be protected through the neutralizing gas and allows Incineroar to go for that Intimidate. Meaning both Tinkaton and Arcanine are weakened to start. Tinkaton in this position definitely can just go for the fake out to make sure the Weezing doesn't get off things like that Will-O-Wisp onto that Tinkaton itself, even though it's not really that good of a damage output. Gigaton Hammer is a pretty menacing move here, but we're just going to see Brenden switch out the Hisuian Arcanine, and in comes the Raging Bolt for Brenden. You know, special attackers are always nice to have in this dimension. We have Fake Out onto the Incineroar, make sure that doesn't move. Will-O-Wisp, yeah, it missed the Tinkaton, unfortunately. Incineroar not going to move. Raging Bolt got in here relatively free. And now from this position, we're going to have... well, there's a Calm Mind there on the Raging Bolt, so you can definitely set that up and get those electric type attacks up and running. And it's just like, what does the Tinkaton do here? Because you have Thunder Wave, yes, you get Thunder Wave, Incineroar, or the Weezing if you're Brenden, and or you can just go for the knockoff and knock out Weezing's ability shields. You can go for the pivot place and get that Intimidate in with neutralizing guys in play. We're just going to see Calm Mind come out from this Raging Bolt, and now he's going to get a bit of a boost to his special attack and his special defense, especially because that Weezing with the Sludge Bomb that it loves to be carrying around. Will-O-Wisp will connect onto Tinkaton this time, will cut its attack in half, as if its attack stat wasn't bad enough already, thanks to how menacing that hammer is. But the knockoff from the Incineroar is going to land onto the Raging Bolt and knock off its leftovers, meaning it's going to have no good HP recovery to follow. Weezing just standing there. Might need to start firing off those taunts for Sludge Bomb soon, because there's going to be at some point where the Weezing needs to get on the aggressive, or at the very least get into a point where you could get Incineroar out of the play and get Regigigas going, because you have to think it's uncrippled. You have Raging Bolt getting set up. You know you can hit heavy damage towards both Pokemon, especially with that Regigigas being as strong as it can be. We're going to see a Terastallization come up, I think, from Brenden here, and it's going to be that Raging Bolt getting the Terastallization into the Fairy type, meaning it is no longer weak to ground, ice, or fairy, but does become weak to poison. Thunder Wave gonna land on the Incineroar because you're not a Prankster Pokemon, you're normally a Mold Breaker Pokemon, but because Neutralizing Gas is in play, that doesn't matter at the very moment. Dragon Pulse at +1 will connect onto this Weezing and get a critical hit for a one-hit knockout. Unfortunate there for Lucy. Neutralizing Gas is now gone. And because Neutralizing Gas is gone, yes, you do get the parting shot off into this Raging Bull, but if you have Regigigas in the back, it's going to become a lot harder for you to win because of the fact that you need to wait those 5 turns now for the slow start to get out of commission, because with that slow start, Regigigas' attack and speed stats will both be halved for 5 whole turns. What's the switching going to be for Lucy? It's going to be their Flutter Mane. And she needs to really hone in with this Choice Specs Flutter Mane, as it's probably his best damage output now that I mean, if you bring Weezing, more often than likely, you gotta bring Regigigas into the same team. Although there have been cases where you don't bring both Pokemon because you could just use Weezing as a general disruptor Pokemon and make sure that it's always untacked and prepared to do what it can to bring in the control aspect with that Will-O-Wisp and the taunt. But at the very least, Brenden is more set up with that Raging Bolt. Fake Out does land onto that Tinkaton for Lucy. Moonblast not enough to knock out the Raging Bolt from that range. Electro Web will come out. It will hit both Pokemon. Will overload their speeds. And the speed really isn't that much of a big deal right now towards this Flutter Mane. Incineroar is more than likely always going to be slower thanks to that paralysis, but in here, you have to wonder about that Flutter Mane, because as long as Flutter Mane is faster than most of your Pokemon, you are going to be struggling to use that Hisuian Arcanine to get the damage output that you really want. That's we're going to see the Hisuian Arcanine come in here for the Intimidate onto that Incineroar and instead of Flutter Mane, and the Agaton Hanger might be range of the knockout here as we see the Moonblast go into the Arcanine. That might have been a critical hit there. No, it was not. It was a straight damage output. Knockoff going to come off. Head take away those Choice Specs for that Flutter Mane, and Incineroar paralyzed for the turn. And now Arcanine's in a good spot here because you're pretty much free to go for Rock Slide for the rest of the game, because almost everything from Lucy's team, you know, she doesn't have Pokemon that can really resist Rock Slide unless it's that Incineroar getting those Intimidates off and getting the most valuable drop in damage output. But because you're unfortunately taking an Intimidate after the fact that Arcanine got into play here means Lucy's going to have a much harder time to get her positioning going to get the damage that she needs, or at least the damage control that she wants. But she's going to send out the Regigigas now. Unfortunately, slow start means it's going to get slow to get going, meaning its attack and speeds are going to be halved. Rock Slide with even not going to be enough to take a knockout there. We see Thunder Wave land onto the Regigigas there, and that was Choice Banded Arcanine. And it wasn't even enough to knock off the Incineroar, but the Incineroar flinches to the Rock Slide. There's not much options left for Tinkaton to do. You know, it's doing its job very well, which is getting out those Thunder Waves and getting those knockoffs into the Pokemon that really need their items to get their engine going. We're going to see Lucy finally go for the Terastallization here. There's 2 options here, which is probably going to be the Regigigas actually, and you're not going to be the Stereotype. It's Stellar Teller. Because you have multiple moves that have different typings. You have, you know, you see Regigigas sometimes has those elemental punches from time to time because of the way that it's been designed to be played. We're going to see the Rock Slide Incineroar, Rock Slide Arcanine knock out the Incineroar at that point, and Knockoff is also going to come out and knock out the Life Orb from the Regigigas, as it will lose even more damage output. High Horsepower is in the land, and it is going to get that Stellar Boost. It is enough to knock out the Arcanine at the very least, so you do get a 1-for-1 trade, meaning your Flutter Mane can get back into play a bit scotch-free. But the Regigigas needs a lot of help to get where it needs to go, and that is to get rid of that slow start, holding it back. But Brenden still has 3 Pokemon to work with. And coming in now is the Chien-Pao, meaning Sword of Ruin is going to be activated at this very moment. Flutter Mane going to come back in for Lucy, and she hopes that this is enough damage and enough speed to knock out a lot of Brenden's Pokemon at this very moment. But because you already have a paralyzed Regigigas that's about to gain to that Chien-Pao, because of the way I believe this Chien-Pao might be faster than the Flutter Mane, depending on how they're trained. At this point, Tinkaton's done its job. It's been the disruptor that it really has been proven to be. Yeah, Tinkaton Hammer to knock out the Flutter Mane should you need to, but instead we're going to see the Tinkaton just switch out back into that Raging Bolt. What's going to be the move here for Lucy is going to be the Dazzling move, which actually ends up being faster than that Chien-Pao. We're going to see Chien-Pao retaliate whack with that Throat Chop, which is enough to knock out Flutter Mane from that range. And now it all kind of just hinges on the Regigigas now for Lucy. Heat Crash going to come out into this. Okay, what was the Tinkaton, now the Raging Bolt. It isn't enough to knock it out, but you have one problem, and that one problem is you don't have enough damage output to knock out the Tinkaton or the Chien-Pao in 2 turns. Because Chien-Pao is faster than the Regigigas, because of the paralysis. You're already at low HP because of the damage you took from earlier attacks, especially Arcanine's Rock Slide. Brenden has this game on lock, and a fake out and an attack away from winning game 1 with that Tinkaton. It's showing off how well positioned it could be if you give it enough time to do what it wants. We're going to see Lucy protect the Regigigas, hopefully to see the 1 win condition, which is to protect enough times to get out of the slow start and get your speed back up to normal. I had to be the one to break the news. Chien-Pao is always going to be faster than Regigigas, unfortunately. Are we going to see the Gigaton Hammer come out here from the Tinkaton though? No, we're just going to see a sword come out. That's game 1 to Brenden. I would have loved seeing that Regigigas come out earlier, but again, it was probably really hard to play around that Tinkaton because of how much disruption it offered throughout the entirety of the tournament. It was just not great at all if you're looking at the aspect of, okay, well, how was I supposed to set up Raging Regigigas? We saw from Lucy what she tried to do there was get Weezing Incineroar in place. You got Fake Out Parting Shot and the ability to Shield Intimidate to make sure you get the attack drop that you really need. But the problem was that the longer you stall with that Incineroar, the longer it takes to get that Regigigas going. And by the time it did, Weezing fainted and your neutralizing ass was just gone. And because it was gone, you didn't really have enough damage from that Regigigas. I mean, yes, you were able to take chip knockouts to that Raging Bolt and to that Asilian Arcanine, but chip damage is chip damage, and at full damage, it probably wasn't hitting hard enough. But there is a possibility that Lucy can just lead Weezing Regigigas for game number 2, because Weezing Regigigas lead always going to be exerting the power that it loves to use. But at the same time, how do you deal with the Tinkaton? It has Fake Out, it has Gigaton Hammer, it has Knockoff. I mean, it didn't get to use the Gigaton Hammer, but it's been able to use Fake Out, Knockoff, and Thunder Wave all consistently. It's been very much a problem for Lucy from turn 1. And I like to believe that he has the perfect answer towards this Weezing Regigigas core because of how bulky Tinkaton is. We're going to game number 2 now, and I had to wonder what the adaptation is going to be for Lucy because I would have to expect Weezing Regigigas probably to be the lead somewhere. And it is going to be Weezing Incineroar once again for Lucy, and for Brenden, it's going to be the Raging Bolt and the Tinkaton, meaning Intimidate only going to really affect the Tinkaton right now. But does this give the Raging Bolt enough time to go for that Calm Mind? Because you're not really threatened by this Raging Bolt at the very moment, and you have Fake Out. You have faster Fake Out than the Incineroar, meaning you can comfortably get that Fake Out and Calm Mind up. Worst thing that happens is that you get Will-O-Wisp, or potentially Sludge Bomb poisoned, but even then, I think Sludge Bomb's not doing a whole lot of damage. If we see that Fake Out come out and stop the Incineroar from going for its Fake Out, Calm Mind comes out, meaning the Raging Bolt's going to get that +1 attack, special attack, and special defense boost. And we're going to see the Will-O-Wisp come out and miss once again. And we see the players laughing it out because, man, you really just hate to see moves miss because, sometimes you run the moves that you don't want to run and then you just get punished because the accuracy wasn't 100% accurate, meaning the chance to miss was definitely higher than the chance to connect, and that ends up costing games when they really shouldn't, and at the end of the day, we all just feel bad for each other. Tinkaton here can start going for those Thunder Waves, especially onto the Incineroar, but I have to think that Weezing's in trouble here. Yeah, you gotta protect the Weezing because if you get hit with a Dragon Pulse like the first game, you're going to be taking a lot of damage here. Thunder Wave was going to the Weezing well, done away with wavering and wheezing for a couple reasons. Particularly to cut down its speed and make sure that it probably becomes the last thing to move. Meaning, it's more probable that you're going to get enough damage on that wheezing before you get too much damage out of control in your favor. But we do see the Calm Mind come out from Raging Bolt, raising his special attack again, but it will get lowered by a stage as a parting shot, and this is what Lucy wants. You want that parting shot to go off last, so you have Regigigas in with Wheezing, without Vega out, and in best case scenario, but we're seeing Flutter Mane instead. So Flutter Mane can provide the damage necessary to potential. I mean, not really going to knock out a Pokemon right now, but can chip away at that Tinkaton or the Raging Bolt, depending on what it chooses to target. And if it targets the Tinkaton with Shadow Ball with that Choice Specs, it's probably going to be a 2-hit knockout unless this Tinkaton's specially trained to be bulky. And we're going to see the Weezy swap out here, so Neutralizing Gas is going to be removed temporarily. This probably signals an Incineroar switch in, unfortunately, because you don't really want to switch in Regigigas at this very moment, or any Pokemon in that matter, you know. Maybe you can switch in Ogerpon or Raging Ball in that slot, but probably more dangerous. So Incineroar going to come in here, going to get the Intimidate off. Fake Out Pressure also going to be coming out as well. Brenden and the Terra. This looks like the Raging Bolt for a second game in a row. And it is going to be Raging Bolt the Fairy once again to dodge the Fairy weakness to become a Fairy type itself. This Flutter Mane, it does that damage. But how much damage does that really have against a +2 Flutter Mane? I mean, +2 Raging Bolt with the Moonblast. We're going to find out the damage right now. It is not doing enough. We see out the Thunderclap do half damage. Special attack drops back to neutral, but the Gigatum Hammer going to finish off the Flutter Mane with one big swing. Tinkaton with that heavy hammer. Shades of Power. But what does Lucy do here? Because you have a couple options here. Yeah, you can bring in Regigigas here, get it set up to potentially swap up the Incineroar for that Wheezing later on. Slow Start is active for now. If not now, then when will it go away because of the Neutralizing Gas? And looking at Brendan's team, you do have enough answers to really side the Sweet Arcanine do so much damage to that Regigigas earlier with those Rock Slides. And what ends up happening here is that if Regigigas takes too much damage, especially with that Life Orb, you're not going to get much value from Regigigas Wheezing to get to a point where you could find your damage when you can. Intimidate going to come down from this Arcanine, lowering both Regigigas and Incineroar's attack pretty importantly, because when you lower the attack before the Neutralizing Gas comes in here, Regigigas feels weak. The Protect came out from Regigigas. Unfortunately, Dragon Pulse went into the Raging Bolt, but Parting Shot gets it down to a special attack drop. And Wheezing will come back in here, but Regigigas crippled already because of that Intimidate. Rock Slide looks really good here. I'm going to be honest, ladies and gentlemen. Rock Slide looks really good because you're at neutral. Wait a minute. Incineroar still has the ability shield, so you can just switch in Regigigas for Incineroar, get the Intimidate off, and then you gotta find yourself into a situation where Regigigas can find clean shots, because if you don't find the clean shots to get the damage you need, then it becomes a problem where if you don't have enough damage, you're going to lose the game. And rightly so, Lucy going to switch her Regigigas back out to the Incineroar for that ability shield Intimidate. My only question is, what does the Wheezing do here? Because this Raging Bolt's getting leftovers recovery, and it's really just sitting there. We are going to see the Raging Bolt switch out because you're not really doing much damage anymore, even though you're a +2 special defense. We are going to see Tinkaton come back into play for Brenden, and this is going to be a big turn for both players. Oh, Flare Blitz into the Incineroar. Oh, almost doesn't knock it out, even at -1 with that critical hit. Are we gonna? Okay, we see the recoil come out here. Sludge Bomb goes into the Raging Bolt slot, but Poison types are no good to Steel types. We're gonna see the Fake Out now come out from this Tinkaton as both players moving pretty quickly here, and nope, too quickly to trade Fake Outs right now. So nothing really happened this turn other than a couple of chip damage outputs. Once again, for the Tinkaton, Knockoff and Thunder Wave are in play for Disruption. Knockoff might be able to knock out the Incineroar from that range, but if Wheezing switches in, Regigigas switches in for that slot, you can knock out the Life Orb, worst case scenario. Wheezing, once again, is sitting there doing nothing. Maybe you could get a Sludge Bomb off of that Arcanine, maybe get a poison, but I think at that point you need to get. And once again, for Lucy, you gotta get that Regigigas in position. And right now, Brenden's just doing a good job of limiting Lucy's options for switch outs. And unfortunately, there, Incineroar has to faint. You know, that Flare Blitz. Thunderwave gonna connect onto this. In this Cantonian Wheezing. Get the paralysis. So now it gets a still stinging plate no matter what ends up happening in this turn. And it doesn't even get an attack off now because of the paralysis getting the completion. And now Lucy's in a lot of trouble because you have the Regigigas Wheezing combo available, but you have to deal with 4 Pokemon from Brenden. And Brenden has all of them relatively healthy and well suited for battle against this great Colossal Titan. And we're going to see the Hisuian Arcanine switch out in order to not take as much damage to that high horsepower that it potentially carries. In comes the Raging Bolt for Brenden. Is this probably going to be the Stellar Terra coming out from the Regigigas? And if it is, we're going to see a lot of damage come out from this Pokemon. And I mean a lot of damage. The Tinkaton can go for... Oh, Wheezy tried to protect there. Unfortunately, gets another paralysis. 2 turns in a row. Regigigas goes for the Heat Crash. This probably targets the Tinkaton. If you're the Regigigas, are you heavy enough to knock it out? No, it is not enough to knock it out, unfortunately. It will be taking some Life Orb recoil damage. And Tinkaton will eat a Citrus Berry to get some health back because it went under 50%. You're going back up to the green range. Thunder Wave missed the Regigigas, unfortunately. And I had to think Lucy's in an okay position because the Tinkaton's almost down to faint range. Because, I mean, your Stellar Terra boost is gone from Heat Crash, but I think another one should be enough to knock it out. And the fortunate thing for Wheezing is that it got paralyzed. Yes, it didn't get to attack, but you get to try and protect again because you never got to protect in the first place. But yeah, you just got to reposition once again if you're Brenden. You know, get the Tinkaton out of there. You know, it probably been your important piece to this battle so far here. As Hisuian Arcanine going to come in here without Intimidate because of the neutralizing gas. High horsepower is going to be the choice here from Lucy's own Regigigas, and gets the knockout there onto that Hisuian Arcanine. Because, well, Tinkaton's also Steel type, so that was also a safer move to bet because Heat Crash is going to be double resistant to Hisuian Arcanine being Fire Rock. And because of that, you just get the free damage output when you connect. And we are going to see the Electro come out from the Raging Bolt. Sludge Bomb does connect onto that Raging Bolt. Apologies for that. And it is not going to be doing a whole lot of damage, even though it got the Electro Web off, which means it makes it easier for Brenden's Pokemon to outspeed all of Lucy's Pokemon, and this just makes it more and more difficult to get into the point of play where you can get knockouts when you can. Unfortunately, Regigigas is losing it out on its Stellar Boost already, using High Horsepower and Heat Crash already. The Regigigas is going to protect for this turn, make sure Fake Out doesn't get popped off into that slot. Fake Out was going to the Regigigas. And what does the Wheezing do here against this Raging Bolt? Because you can't... Oh, Thunderclap going to come out. Going to call out the attack from the Wheezing. It is attacking this turn. It is going to eat that Citrus Berry. Will get the move, though, because it's been paralyzed for a couple turns already. It's already gotten 2 turns of paralysis. Will we make it 3? It will not be 3. Another Sludge Bomb comes out. Does not knock out the Raging Bolt. No poison either. So more injury recovery. I mean, it's getting to a point where Regigigas can get the chip knockout from the Double Edge or the High Horsepower or Heat Crash at that point, meaning the Tinkaton right here, you kind of need to get the Thunder Wave off at worst case scenario. Or yeah, Thunder Wave, another option you go for Regigigas. You can get the Thunder Wave off. Thunderclap gonna hit the Regigigas as it's gonna be attacking this turn. Thunder Wave, another miss, unfortunately, on that Regigigas. Even though it's at -1 speed, High Horsepower also gonna miss. Moves are missing left and right. Sludge Bomb connects on the Raging Bolt, and it's gonna be knocking it out. Terra is gone for Brenden, and RNG take, RNG give, doesn't matter because you have missed moves on both ends. 1 Thunder Wave, 1 High Horsepower. Genpow gonna come in here for Brenden here. Definitely gonna be faster than both of these Pokemon, and is threatening knockouts on both Regigigas and the Wheezing. Sacred Sword being the option against Regigigas. I don't know if Ice Spinner is enough to knock it out from that range. I mean, a combination of knockoff plus knockoff plus Ice Spinner should knock out Wheezing. But Regigigas is pretty much a sitting duck because it protected the no, it didn't protect the last turn with her high horsepower. What am I talking about? We see it protect here? Yeah, we do. Does Brenden call this and go for the double up onto the Wheezing here? We are going to see the throw chop coming into that Wheezing. Not enough to knock it out quite yet. Knockoff was going to the Regigigas, unfortunately, meaning the Life Orb still going to stay intact. Will-O-Wisp lands onto the Chien-Pao. Maybe a turn too late, but it's never too late for anything. And its damage is definitely going to be crippled for the remainder of the battle. But Lucy looking really not great right now with this low HP Regigigas and low HP Wheezing, both on the brink of fainting to pretty much anything. Double protect, doesn't get it. Lucy tried to protect the Regigigas twice, but she couldn't find it. Sacred Sword lands on the Regigigas, barely lives on that red, but gets doubled up by the Gigas Hammer. Down it goes, and that's probably game over for Lucy, unfortunately, thanks to Tinkaton hitting another swing of the hammer. And the Wheezing Will-O-Wisp onto the Tinkaton, so you have residual damage, you got 2 knockouts, but this is probably way too much to ask if you're Tinkaton, and if you're Wheezing, because Sludge Bomb, unfortunately, can no longer touch the Tinkaton because you don't have a Terra option to get the Terra Water, and Sludge Bomb, unfortunately, ineffective against Steel types. I don't see a way Lucy wins this game, unfortunately. Even if you do knock out the Chien-Pao, you have nothing left for the Tinkaton. Throw Chop is just going to finish it off, and that's, ladies and gentlemen, is a 2-0 victory for Brenden Moses. The Tinkaton really came to shine today in round number 1. All you Tinkaton believers, rejoice. This Pokemon is right here, and it showed up right when everyone needed it. That was just fantastic work from Brenden. He's been trying to make that Tinkaton work for so long. I don't know how long exactly, but I know he's been wanting to make that Tinkaton work for a while. It's been a fantastic mainstay for his team, and it proves to be the Mold Breaker being the reason that Armor Tail is so popular, and Tinkaton can counter both. And if you guys aren't still aware of our Child's Play charity going on at the bottom of the description, you can go ahead and scan the QR code for donations. We're still aiming for a $1,000 goal to get our support for those children in need and to make sure that they have all the support that they can possibly have. If you want to donate, click !donate in the Twitch chat or scan the QR code link in the description below. But with that being said, round 1 is a wrap. We'll be back for round 2 of Gym Challenge 20 right after this.